Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. The Ratana Sutta. The city of Vesali was afflicted by a famine, causing death, especially to the poor folk. Due to the presence of decaying corpses, the evil spirits began to haunt the city. This was followed by a pestilence. Plagued by these three fears of famine, non-human beings, and pestilence, the citizens sought the help of the Buddha, who was then living at Rajagaha. Followed by the large number of monks, including the Venerable Ananda, his attendant disciple, the Buddha came to the city of Vesali. With the arrival of the master, there were torrential rains which swept away the petrifying corpses. The atmosphere became purified. The city was clean. Thereupon the Buddha delivered this jewel discourse, Ratana Sutta, to the Venerable Ananda and gave him instructions as to how he should tour the city with the disheveled citizens, reciting the discourse as a mark of protection to the people of Vesali. The Venerable Ananda followed the instructions and sprinkled the sanctified water from the Buddha's own alms bowl. As a consequence, the evil spirits were exorcised. The pestilence subsided. Thereafter, the Venerable Ananda returned with the citizens of Vesali to the public hall where the Buddha and his disciples had assembled awaiting his arrival. There, the Buddha recited the same jewel discourse to the gathering. Whatever beings, non-humans, are assembled to hear, terrestrial or celestial, may they all have peace of mind, and may they listen attentively to these words. O beings, listen closely. May you all radiate loving kindness to those human beings who, by day and night, bring offerings to you, offer merit to you. Wherefore, protect them with the diligence. Whatever treasure there be either here or in the world beyond, whatever precious jewel there be in the heavenly worlds, there is none comparable with the Tathagata, the perfect one. This precious jewel is in the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. That cessation, that detachment, that deathlessness, Nibbana supreme, the calm and collected Sakya sage, the Buddha had realized. There is not comparable to this Nibbana Dhamma. This precious jewel is the Dhamma. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. 4 ways of describing the Nibbana. The Supreme Buddha extolled a path of purity, the Noble Eightfold Path, calling it the path which unfailingly brings concentration. There is not comparable to this concentration. This precious jewel is the Dhamma. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. The 8 persons extolled by virtuous men constitute 4 pairs. They are the disciples of the Buddha and are worthy of offerings. Gifts given to them yield rich results. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. With a steadfast mind and applying themselves well in the dispensation of the Buddha Gautama, free from defilements, they have attained to that which should be attained, arahantship, encountering the deathless. They enjoy the peace of Nibbana freely obtained. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. As a post deep planted in the earth stands unshaken by the winds from the 4 quarters, so too I declare is the righteous man who comprehends with wisdom the noble truths. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. Those who realize the noble truths well taught by him who is profound in wisdom, the Buddha, even though they may be exceedingly heedless, they will not take an existence in the realm of sense spheres. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness. With his gaining of insight, he abandons 3 states of mind, namely self-illusion, doubt, and indulgence in meaningless rites and rituals, should there be any. He is also fully free from the 4 states of woe, and therefore incapable of committing the 6 major wrongdoings. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Any evil action he may still do by deed, word, or thought, he is incapable of concealing it, since it has been proclaimed that such concealing is impossible for one who has seen the path of Nibbana. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. As the woodland groves, though in the early heat of the summer month, are crowned with blossoming flowers, even so is the sublime Dharma leading to the calm of Nibbana, which is taught by the Buddha for the highest good. This precious jewel is the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. The peerless excellent one, the Buddha, the knower of Nibbana, the giver of Nibbana, the bringer of the noble path, taught the excellent Dhamma. This precious jewel is the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Their past karma is spent, their new karma no more arises. Their mind to future becoming is unattached. Their germ of rebirth consciousness has died. They have no more desire for reliving. Those wise men fade out of existence as the flame of this lamp which had just faded away. This precious jewel is the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth may there be happiness. Whatever beings, non-humans, are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come let us salute the Buddha, the Tathagata, the Perfect One, honored by gods and men. May there be happiness. Whatever beings are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come let us salute the Perfect Dhamma, honored by God and man. May there be happiness. Whatever beings are assembled here, terrestrial or celestial, come let us salute the Perfect Sangha, honored by gods and men. May there be happiness. The Ratana Sutta, the Jewel Discourse. This is the 8th session. Is that right? Oh, so 8th week. So we have been quarantined for 8 weeks. Not quarantine, I mean lockdown for 8 weeks. Not really lockdowns. Voluntary semi-lockdown. Okay. So more than 8 weeks, 10 weeks now, almost. Yeah. So Ratana Sutta, the Jewel Discourse. By this time, you should have gotten a glimpse of what is really the message from this sutta. The message that carry across to you from this sutta. And of course, it talks about the virtues, right? The virtues, the wonderful qualities of the Buddha, of the Triple Gem, of the Buddha, of the Dhamma, and of the Sangha. And most of all, what does it actually tells you about the virtues about the nature of the virtues of the Triple Jewels? It's a difficult question, I know.
It really doesn't matter where you're on the path, it reinforces the faith of the Dhamma.
Why? Why it reinforces you?
The way it's explained.
The way it is explained, okay? Anybody else?
Different examples
The different examples.
are different categories of different people
Yeah.
on a different path.
Yeah.
The faith is behind, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
It reinforces that to
The faith in
forget questioning or judging, realize the strength of the faith.
the strength of the faith. The faith in
The Dhamma,
the Dhamma. And the Dhamma is
the Sangha.
The Dhamma is the teaching, and the teaching is talking about the Buddha and... Say that again? Quack? The truth. The truth. It's really, the sutta, the Ratana Sutta, doesn't just tell us the virtues of the triple gems. It tells us really the power of truth. The power of the truth. And ever since the Buddha had this aspiration to attain Buddhahood, he had always strongly upheld one really particular ethical principle. Is whether it's before his attainment as a householder, or during his endeavor towards enlightenment as a forest, as an ascetic for 6 years, or when he was sitting down below the sala tree, vowing to attain that enlightenment, and also after he has during his endeavor towards attaining that enlightenment, and when he attained, and after he had attained, during the 45 years of his teachings, that one principle that he really upheld is truth. True. And he said the Dhamma is what? The Dhamma is true in the beginning, the Dhamma is true in the middle, the Dhamma is true at the end. The Dhamma is sweet in the beginning, the Dhamma is sweet in the middle, the Dhamma is sweet at the end. So he never abuses his words. He never misused his words. Not like us. We always misuse our language, misuse our words, and cause so much sufferings to ourselves and to others. So he never abused that, because he knows that telling the truth and being truthful is so crucial, especially for practitioners walking on this path. So that truth, that upholding or abiding by that becomes so powerful, becomes such a good quality. And this Ratana Sutta is really also one of the message that this Ratana Sutta is carrying across, is the power of truth. Remember, every verse, it ends with what? By this asseveration of the truth, may there be safety, security, happiness, and peace. So it appears how many times? 14 times or 17 times, let alone the last 3 verses. But actually the whole Ratana Sutta stops. The message that the Buddha actually taught in give it to the people in Vesali actually is up to verse 14. And the last 3 verses were told by the who was he? By the king, forgot his name. Okay, I'll remember his name later on. But anyway, the celestial king. But anyway, so the teaching actually stopped at verse 14, completed. The whole Ratana Sutta actually, what the Buddha talked about, and his name Ratana Sutta actually is just up to verse 14. And these other 3 verses are repeated by the king of the celestial beings. So you can see with every verse, it ends with this, by this asseveration of the truth. By this asseveration of the truth, that means there is this power of the truth. So it became a source, the power of the truth became a source of strength to the Buddha himself, right? And so if we, after reading this sutta, and we develop that kind of strong faith, and we uphold, if we could uphold this quality of truth, and we will be naturally drawn towards that kind of connection with the noble ones. And then we will, what? Naturally develop this power. And we will naturally have this kind of blessings. So that this sutta is wonderful in many sense, in many aspects. So don't forget about this the power of truth. Okay. So let us look. We looked at up to verse 10 last week, and now let us look at verse 11. It says, any evil action he may still do by deed, word, or thought, he is incapable of concealing it, since it has been proclaimed that such concealing is impossible for one who has seen the path of Nibbana. This precious jewel is in the Sangha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be security, safety, peace, and happiness. So any evil action he may still do. Who is this he? So you have to remember, what did we look at in the last few verses, especially in verse 10. Laurie? Okay. She's not on the number 1 spot. Okay, number 4 spot. Laurie?
I think it's the stream enter again.
Yep. Very good. So it's about the stream entering. It's still talking about the stream entering. And it's talking about the characteristics or the qualities of a stream enterer. Any evil action he may still do by deed, word, or thought, he is incapable of concealing it. Remember what I talk about. Talk about the Sotapanna or the stream enterer. Even though they have entered the stream, or even though they have attained the Sotapanna state, if they are continuing to exist as a human being, they still can have a temper. Okay, they still can have some a craving. And they still can have some harsh words. Remember this, bear in mind. Because a stream entering is not totally liberated. Okay? So, so he's talking about any evil action that implies is very unwholesome. Bodily or verbal actions, or even mental actions that this stream enterer will perform or have done. He is incapable of concealing it. He cannot hide it. He cannot conceal it. Why is that? Because concealing is a kind of fake, dishonest, isn't it? And as I said just now, the Ratana Sutta carries another message, is talking about the power of truth. So concealing is not really honesty. It's not really truth, isn't it? So we always conceal our mistakes. Yeah? I didn't say that. No, I never said that. I never think that. I never behave like that. No, you must have misunderstood. You were probably wrong. So we seldom, not all the time, we seldom admit our wrongful behaviors. But for a Sotapanna or for a stream enterer, even though that they have attained this first state of enlightenment, but in their mind they still have this craving, they still have these sensual desires, and they could easily make mistakes, but it's very difficult. They will never conceal it. They will always upfront and admit, and even go and actually expose. Can I use expose? Expose their wrongful doings. Why? Because they know, because with their achievement, they know the truth is very important. Whether telling the truth is very important. Okay, then behaving truly is also very important. If they are not behaving truly, then they are not what? They are not a Sotapanna. They are not at the state of a Sotapanna at that moment. They are a state of an unliberated being. But because of that, they have already attained such a state. So in the back of their mind, they always have this. Have this in the back of the mind is, anytime I could turn back to become a mundane person. I could turn back to make mistakes, or I could turn back to abuse. So in the back of the mind, there is always this awareness that there is a risk, or there is a danger of committing these unwholesome deeds. So that awareness is actually very strong. So with such an awareness, how can you conceal your mistakes? Right? You won't feel comfortable. If we have that kind of awareness, we won't feel very comfortable if we are hiding our mistakes. Right? It's very difficult to pass a day with that kind of mental state, isn't it? Because that awareness is so strong. It constantly haunts you, hey. There seems to be a voice in the back of your mind too. Hey, you've done this wrongly. Hey, you've done this, you've said this wrongly. Hey. So it keeps on haunting you, right? So how can you conceal it? You have to upfront face it and admit it. And voice it out. So that is one wonderful quality of this stream enterer, right? So remember this is the wonderful qualities of this stream enterer. And also with a stream enterer, if he is a mundane person, he definitely would be abiding by the 5 precepts. Okay? So if he or she is a monastic, then definitely he or she will be abiding by the monastic's precepts. So that is that, because the what can I say? Even though they are not completely impeccable, but they will still make minor flaws and minor mistakes, but they will become aware, and they will admit, and they will go and what? Seek repentance. They will go and seek repentance doesn't mean that they need to go to a senior person like a monastic. We need to go to a senior person or group of Sangha members, monastics, to voice out, to openly admit our mistakes, or ask if the Sangha members, fellow Sangha members, have hear or see our mistakes, please have compassion and tell us. Okay, so they may not necessarily have to do this like confession, but they will do it. But even such confession really is the repentance actually come from others? Okay, your mistakes being forgiven. No. It's not about your mistakes being forgiven. It's about whether you really be aware of your mistakes and admit your mistakes without any hiding. Because then you, once you admit it, then at that moment, that awareness has a very, very, very strong purification effect.
To me, the first step is admitting it to myself.
Yeah. But you see, admitting it to yourself,
Realizing and admitting it to yourself.
yeah, you can say that, but sometimes even you admitting to yourself is sort of like it's still like an inside thing, you know.
Yes.
It's only you knowing it.
But at least you realize.
Of course.
That's what I meant. You're at a state that you can realize and admit.
Of course.
At the end of the day,
That's the first thing. That's the first thing.
it's the start.
It's the start. And then the second thing is, if you can openly admit it, I tell you, that becomes a strength. Because why? Because, you know, everybody knows. Then at that time you feel so, people, I mean, hopefully people will not belittle you. Hopefully people will not spread this kind of news out. But people do, okay? People do. That's the problem. That's why people are very unwilling to be so upfront to admit their mistakes, because they don't know whether that person I can trust to tell them this, you know. But I mean, it's really none of their business. If they spread if they spread anything about your mistakes, it's their wrongdoing. It's their wrongdoing, especially in a sangha setting. We are not supposed to spread. If it is like in the sangha, we admit our mistakes, and we're not supposed to talk about it at all. At all. Once we leave this place, because it's such a wonderful quality for somebody who can come up front and be so openly admit their mistakes. It's such a wonderful quality. And we should actually help each other to upkeep that kind of wonderful quality, rather than, you know, making it like a joke, making like a gossip, right? So, yes.
I think it also works sort of maybe not as strongly in the sangha setting as in the family setting.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I find that as time goes on, I can more readily admit in front of when we have dinner together, or when I did something that I know I realize that, you know, I shouldn't have said, or, you know, maybe I shouldn't react so strongly.
Yeah.
When I actually verbally tell the kids and, you know, Eva that, you know, I shouldn't have done something.
Yeah.
After that, it felt better, and it felt stronger. That
Exactly. It becomes a strength. Exactly.
It really, I totally see the difference.
Yeah.
When you start to be able to actually verbally admit
Yeah.
in front of the people that you supposedly heard.
Yeah.
It becomes, it lightens yourself. You feel lighter, but you also feel like there's less chance of you doing it again.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
Exactly.
a memory there somehow.
Yes. It's strange that we are actually talking about this. And today I had a conversation with a student, and she was telling me, that half-day meditation, you know, every Sunday was so good. And she said she had a kind of, not realization, but really sort of awakening experience this past Sunday when she was meditating with us. She said, things about the Hong Kong riots came up during her meditation, and then she realized, wow, so much craving and anger and animosity and ignorance in there, or in those people. And then all of a sudden she said it just switched to her own ignorance, and she realized so much ignorance, so much ill will, and so much jealousy. And she realized, she looked at it, she said, wow, so much. And she said, she said to me, she said, at that time I just looked at it and said, wow, I've done so much wrong in the past that brought so much harm to the family, causing, the family to split up, and then after that she actually went to admit it to the kids. She said that to the kids before. She said to the boy, and said, I'm sorry that, because of my past, I haven't done my best in the past, and that, that caused so much problem. And the boy said, it's okay, Mom, it's okay. And then she talked to the girl, and then the girl said, then, what's next? So what are you going to do next? She said, I'm going to keep meditating. And then her daughter said, good for you, Mom. Keep working. You see, this admitting is really so powerful. And she said after she realized that, she actually let go of a part of that sufferings. And when she talked to the children, she said, it felt so light. She said, I had never had that experience before. She felt so light and so open up, so joyful. So it's just another story to share. So, remember, admitting is really not. Don't feel that it's embarrassing. Don't feel that it is like awkward. In the beginning, it could be awkward. It could be, it looks embarrassing, but once you take a step, it will really help you to be stronger and stronger. Somebody put up their hand? Sandra, okay. Sandra, you have to turn your speaker on. Not your Sandra. Please unmute. No? Sandra, you have to turn your speaker on. Your audio on. I think you have to let her know how to work with her phone, so she can type in your thing.
Is it our speaker?
No, Laurie can speak just now. We can hear from Laurie. Anyway, okay, we go on first. So they won't hide it from anybody, all right? Remember, by really clearing it, by really opening it, openly admit it, we are actually lightening our burden. So we don't carry a burden all the time on our shoulders, in our mind. So since it has been proclaimed that such concealing is impossible for one who has seen the state of path. Yes, for one who has actually attained such a state, the concealing is really impossible. Okay? And for a stream enterer, if they really have made a mistake, they will immediately become aware and then commit themselves right away to return back onto the path, and will not veer off anymore. Okay, So this precious jewel is in the Sangha. So this precious jewel is in the Sangha because it is one of the precious jewel in the stream entering. And this, by this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness, safety, security, and peace. So, is she able to talk yet?
She's got a video up now too. I'm just messaging her.
Okay, all right. So, should we go on? So, anybody has any questions about this verse? Or we can go on to the next one. Nobody? Okay, this is very clear, straightforward. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I turned the whole thing on. No animation. Hi, yeah, yeah. Okay, verse 12. As the woodland groves, though in the early heat of the summer month, are crowned with blossoming flowers, even so is the sublime Dharma leading to the calm of Nibbana, which is taught by the Buddha for the highest good. This precious jewel is in the Buddha. By this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness or safety, security, and peace. So this is actually taken us back to what? To which jewel? Nobody knows? Laurie? Versha. Okay, Versha this time. Unmute Versha, please. Versha. Unmute Versha, please.
Yeah, just speak, please.
Versha.
Hi.
Hi.
So they've taken us back to the Buddha, the jewel.
Yeah, the Buddha. Oh, somebody said, I really experienced very calm and relaxed after I voiced out my mistake to my husband. You see, that make a husband and wife relationship a more easy way to become more harmonious. Yeah. So, thank you for the response from Hong Kong. So, verse 12. So this woodland groves, though in the early heat of the summer month, are crowned with blossoming flowers. So, in India, early heat of the summer, in India or in Southeast Asia, early month of the summer is everywhere flowers. It's more than here. Here is actually spring, but in Southeast Asia it's the early months of summer. And different flowers blossoming. And this verse actually begins with a beautiful simile. The simile about flowers blossoming, flowers. And you know that in India there are actually 3 seasons, right? 3 seasons, not just 2, 3 seasons. Yeah? July to October, right? July to October. And then November to February, and then March to June. So from March to June, there are blossoms everywhere. So that early summer month is really not spring. It could get very hot, right, Versha? Could get very hot compared to what we have here. So in the summer month, in the early summer months, with this blossoming, all different flowers are blossoming, and the heat rises. And the heat starts to come in, and the breeze starts to come in, and brings the breeze and the heat brings the fragrance of these different kind of blossoms everywhere. And it's, it's so beautiful too, right? So here, it actually is a simile A simile about what? This blossoming is like analogous to the beautiful, beautiful Dharma that the Buddha has taught. And the Dharma of the Buddha, the Dharma that the Buddha taught, actually has so many different aspects. It fits different people, just like different flowers blossoming and bringing different kind of colors and fragrance. Okay, so that is the analogy. That is the simile about this first sentence here. So, and all these teachings that the Buddha has taught, which could appeal to different people, and they have their own fragrance, they have their own colors, they have their own beauty. It's just like each different individual kind of flowers have their own different fragrance and colors and beauty. Every day when I walk to the Dhamma hall, I always look around Po Lam. The rye has its beauty, and the tulip has its beauty, and the wildflowers has its own beauty, and the hostets that we have, different kind of hostets that we have, beautiful, beautiful leaves, and when the rain and the wildflowers, especially the wildflowers, you can actually smell tons of different kind of fragrance from wildflowers. And that, can you imagine that is the simile to the different kind of teachings of the Buddha, isn't it? Isn't it such a beautiful verse, such a beautiful simile? And also, these blossoming flowers and this fragrance also refers to what? Refers to the qualities of virtues, the qualities of people abiding by sila, by precepts, and the qualities of the beauty of the life that such a moral life can give. Okay, so this blossoming simile actually has quite a few different perspectives. And so beyond, and also when we look beyond this life of an enlightened being, of course, when we looked at it ourselves, if we abide by the precepts, if we abide by our own sila and develop these foundations of samadhi and everything, so we have also certain kind of beautiful qualities. But when we look beyond us to those enlightened beings, all these enlightened beings also have different kind of achievement, and they present a different kind of colors and fragrance. Isn't it? Right? Right? So work hard. Work hard so that we actually give out wonderful colors and fragrance, not really stinky smell. Because these are the colors and fragrance of wisdom, of compassion. And so it says, even so is the sublime Dharma leading to the calm of Nibbana, which is taught by the Buddha for the highest good. So all these flowers are available in the teachings, in the Buddha's teachings. And all of these teachings will lead us to total liberation, complete liberation. attain ultimate freedom and attain ultimate liberation from all the entanglements and all the sufferings. In this verse, actually, it brings, the Buddha is being praised not just by the qualities of the Buddha, it's also praised by the qualities of the Dhamma, the Sublime Dharma. So it's actually the qualities of the Buddha being praised by two qualities, by two aspects, by the Buddha himself, the virtues of the Buddha himself, and by the virtues of the Dhamma. Can you see that? Right? The blossoming, the sublime Dharma, which is taught by the Buddha. So when the sublime Dharma is the highest Dharma that one can give us, the saint can give us. And also remember, the devas came, the deities came to back him, to go and teach. Remember that? It's right in this book. Yeah? We study how many times? You study how many times? You still cannot remember. So remember, it's in this book. The deities came to back the Buddha, to come and teach the human world, to human beings. But the Buddha said, no. Why? They wouldn't understand because my Dharma is too profound. It's too difficult, right? And they won't understand and they won't listen. So it's too difficult. I'm not going to teach. But because of the compassion of the Buddha and the continuous invitation by the devas or by the deities, and the Buddha decided to teach. And when he actually before he wanted to teach, he actually surveyed the human world. And I wanted to bring this up because so that we could actually appreciate the Buddha arrived to this world and he decided to teach. And we should be really constantly and continuously be grateful of this opportunity that we actually encounter the teachings. And that's why I constantly would want to bring this up all the time. And today I want to bring this up. So the Sublime Dharma, and it's on page 70. And the Buddha actually surveyed the human world. And he said, yes, there are beings with little dust in their eyes who are perishing through not hearing the Dhamma. And there will be those who will understand the Dhamma. So remember, these two actually very, very important sentences on page 70 in the Buddha's Word, the book in the Buddha's Word. So the Brahmas, then he said further, the Brahma said, impure teachings devised by those are still stained. I will open the doors to the deathless. That's page 71 in this book. I will open the doors to the deathless, the Buddha said. Let them hear the Dhamma that the stainless one has found. That means the one who is pure has found. I will open the doors for them. So the Buddha the Buddha said, then I listened to the Brahma's pleading, and out of compassion for beings, I surveyed the world with the eye of the Buddha. And surveying the world with the eye of a Buddha, I saw beings with little dust in their eyes, with much dust in their eyes. So there are different beings, some with little dust, some with a lot of dust. And then there are beings with keen faculties, sharp, and there are beings with very dull faculties. And there are beings with very good qualities, and there are beings with very bad qualities. And there are beings with easy to teach, and there are beings very difficult to teach. So it's all like, two sides. Just like in a pond, a lotus pond. Look at this lotus pond. Look at this picture that I have put up from Van Dusen Garden. Look at these lotuses. There are some lotus already like bloom above water. There are some sitting on water. There are some inside the water. There are little buds here and there inside the water. And he said, just as in a pond of blue or red or white lotuses, some lotuses that are born and grow in the water thrive immersed in the water without rising out of it. So some lotuses actually cannot rise above water. But there are other lotuses that are born and grow in the water and rest on the water surface. Some rest on the water surface. Look at the bottom one, isn't it? It rises from below the water, but only stay on the surface of the water. But some other lotuses that are born and grow in the water rise out of water and stand clear, unwetted by it. That one in the middle, rise above water and stand clear and unwetted. That means there is no water on the petals. What does it mean by that? What does it mean by those? So those who are remained underneath, below the water, are those with less or much dust. First or second? Less or much dust, yes. Okay. So those rises from water but stay on the surface. Are they of dull qualities? Are they of dull faculties? Or are they of sharp faculties? Or are they just median? 1, 2, median. Yeah. Thank you, Versha. This hand language really works very well. Median, yes. Median faculties. Those rise above water and stand free from water and not wetted by the water. Do they have dull, median, or very sharp qualities? Very sharp qualities. Sharp qualities. Like that. Yes, like that. Sharp qualities. Yeah, great. You see, so where are we? Where are we? Not too humble, okay? Where are we?
In the wave.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of them said in the wave, up, down, and then up again, down, and then up again, up and down, up and down, up and down, like riding a carousel. Yeah? Sometimes we dive down, and sometimes we come up and go down and stay, and down, down, and up again. So hopefully when we are down, we will what? We'll remember and take a deep breath and come up again. Yes, We are up and down all the time. After the Buddha actually surveyed the human world and make such a beautiful simile to different types of people with different types, different level of quality of faculties. Then he said, I replied to the Brahma in stanzas. And this is the stanza that he replied. He said, open for them are the doors to deathless. Let those with ears now show their faith. When you hear this, when you read this last sentence, what did it tell you? What did it remind you? Versha? Hand language doesn't work now. Okay.
The 14 steps to the arrival of truth?
Exactly. Wonderful. And wonderful. You see, that's why I love this book. And you missed all this, right? You read through it, it doesn't click. Now when we put it on the screen, you say, aha, you see, that's where it comes from. Way before the Buddha actually started teaching, he's already said, let those with ears, faith, right? When you have faith, then you give ears. When you give ears, you go and visit. Or you go and visit and then you give ears, right? And respect too. So you see 14 steps to the arrival of truth. Okay, so he said, so it's page 71 if you want to read it. On the bottom paragraph, open for them are the doors to the deathless. Let those with ears now show their faith. So this is the wonderful simile, I think, to share with you. And the Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, is just like in the heated summer when we can jump into a big body of water. It's like, oh, so nice, right? And I want to share with you a story in the Nikaya. There was this very wealthy young man. Sorry, overrun. Since you are all at home, it's okay. So we don't have to drive home. So if you want to go and run errands at 8 o'clock, please feel free to leave. I'm going to finish this story and finish this verse, maybe another 10 minutes or so. So there is this Yasa, a very, very wealthy young man who has a very, 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 very wealthy father, who lives in who used to live in palaces, and his father is actually also his father is the follower of the Buddha, and so Yasa naturally, actually, when he was young, he already met the Buddha. And when he was young, when he met the Buddha, and he actually already vowed to live a very simple monastic life. So one time the Buddha actually taught Yasa, talked to him about generosity, talked to him about precepts. And after that, Yasa decided to go into a monkhood. So he actually went into the Sangha together with four of his friends. And later on, 50 of his friends also became monks. And then his father later on also became the disciples or the student of the Buddha. And his father was the first householder disciple. Okay, upasika. So why did Yasa wanted to become a monk? Because when he was still a householder, his father brought him many wives, and he had many wives. And one day when he woke up, he saw all his attendants who are women all went to bed, and some was sleeping like this and some was sleeping like that, and he looked at them. He said, wow, it looks so ugly. Because some was drooling, and some was mouth opening, and some was talking in the dreams. And it's just, to him, it was just like a cemetery. And when he saw that, he looked at it and he said, this is suffering, this is miserable, this is horrible. So he left home. When he left home, on the way, he went to the Buddha. On the way, he kept saying, this is suffering, this is very difficult, this is tremendous suffering. And so when he left home, when he actually walked out the door opened it by itself. Who opened it? The deities, the devas. When he walked through the gate of his palace, the gate opened by itself. Who opened it? The deities. So this Yasa definitely had a lot of merits. So by the time he got to where the deer park where the Buddha was, and the Buddha actually, it was in the middle of the night. The Buddha was, walking meditation, doing walking meditation, and he knew that Yasa was approaching. So he left the walking meditation and sat on his Dhamma seat. And then when Yasa approached the Buddha, and he proclaimed, he said, this is very miserable, this is dukkha, this is dukkha. And the Buddha said to Yasa, Yasa, there is no dukkha here. Because Buddha was there. Yasa, there is no dukkha here. When you arrived here, there is no dukkha. Now I'm teaching you the way out of dukkha. And so the Buddha started teaching him about dukkha and about the Four Noble Truths. And when he heard about the Four Noble Truths, he attained Sotapanna. So when he attained Sotapanna, he actually experienced this showering of with rain, with all the heat from the dukkha, from this suffering, so start to all sort of settle down. And so it feels so clean, so clear, so refreshing. And all these defilements, all these afflictions, all these miseries, all this dukkha that he experienced just now when he was still in the palace completely vanished. Because why? He attained that first state of Sotapanna. And you see, the Buddha said, there is no dukkha here. Can we say that there is no dukkha here? We can't. But can we start to see that we can come out of the dukkha? Yes. There is hope for us to come out of dukkha. If we can build up that awareness, if we can build up that equanimity. Is it possible? It is not impossible. It is not impossible. Yeah, correct. That means it is possible. Okay? So this is just an analogy to another story to tell you that the Buddha can actually has that capacity, a capability, ability to actually expound different kind of, not different kind of Dhamma, but the Dhamma in different ways to different people with different kind of faculties or different level of faculties. Okay? So, even so, and so this precious jewel is in the Buddha. This precious jewel is in the Buddha. And this fragrance, these virtues, and this ability is in the Buddha. And by this asseveration of the truth, may there be happiness, safety, security, and peace. Wonderful. Any inspirations? Any sharing? No? You guys are so stingy. You don't share your feelings. Don't be so stingy. Be generous. Be generous. Okay? That's the, oh, Maria.
You just guilted me.
Guilty?
Now I have to say something because nobody else will. I just want to say that, like in today's world, with the way things are, that the teachings and the understanding of impermanence and collective karma and can't think of any, all of it. I guess what I'm saying is we're very fortunate,
yes,
to have been taught this by you, because it really helps keeping things in perspective.
Yes.
And when you start thinking about things, I mean, sometimes the fear does build up. You know, you don't know what the future is going to be for yourself, for your loved ones, for your employment, whatever. But it's the Dhamma and the knowing and the knowledge of the Dhamma calms it down.
Yeah. And to remember to bring it back into the real life. To put it into the real life. Yeah, implement that into the real life situation that really can help us to hush and calm this mind, so that we don't need to constantly live in fear of unknown, that is impermanence, you know, fear of the future and fear of catching whatever, you know. And, you know, that is actually so important. The grounding of every moment right here is very, very crucial. It's very crucial for our future, because this is the moment that brings the future. If this moment is so wobbly, then our future will be wobbly. So if we are grounded, like this deep post being pounded down into the earth, then we are not easily shaken by the winds. So that we can easily identify any verse in here with our present situation. Right? Yeah.
Very much.
Okay, welcome. Thanks to Buddha and thanks to Dhamma. I'm just a middle person. Okay, so, oops, so let us, wow, I have so many slides. Okay, so let us dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we with all the other living beings together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words, the wise words of the Buddha. study them, understand them, practice them, and implement them into their life, and help themselves to liberate from their own entanglements and be ultimately safe, secure, happy, and peaceful.